All right, so I received this question from one of my students, and I thought it would be helpful to go ahead and draw it out. So we're dealing with, in this context, let me move this out of the way. In this context, we have a runway that is 4x feet wide. The airport was supposed to have a 7,000 foot long runway. However, some of the land was wetland, so the runway could not be built on all of it. Therefore, the length of the runway was decreased by this expression here. So what we want to do is we want to find the area of the runway. So when we have our runway, we're going to make the assumption that it's going to be a rectangle. So we're going to set it up something like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to establish the parameters based off of the given text. So we know the width is going to be 4x. And we know that this originally was supposed to be 7,000 feet. However, this bit right here is what we would consider wetland, and the expression that they gave us for that part of it was 3y. So if we want to find the length of just this section right here, what we have to do is we have to take that 7,000 and we have to subtract 3y, because we have to remove this section of the runway right here. Now if we're trying to find the area of the rectangle, area is going to be length times width. So in this case, our length is going to be this expression right here. So area is equal to 7,000 minus 3y. And I might put that in parentheses just to make it a little bit easier. And the way that I'm writing it is actually going to be a little bit confusing. So what I'll do is I'll show you how we can rearrange the order at the end. And in this case, we know our width is 4x. So if we're talking about the commutative and the associative property of multiplication, it doesn't matter if we're dealing with just two factors or a grouping of factors. We know we can change the order and it doesn't change the overall product. So our area is going to be equal to 4x parenthesis 7,000 minus 3y. Now we have one more step we need to take before we can simplify it if possible. We need to apply the distributive property. So this 4x outside the parentheses indicates multiplication. And really what it's telling us what to do is take this 4x and multiply it by each of these components here. So I know 4 times 7 is 28. So 4 times 7,000 is going to be 28 with 3 zeros. And since it's 4x times 7,000, we're going to have to include an x in there. Now we have to take this 4x times negative 3y. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And since x and y are different variable components, we can't do any of the exponential rules that we would have in other situations because we don't have the same base. We can't do anything with the exponents. So this right here is the representation of the area based off of these given values. So once we define what x and what y is, we can go and determine what the actual area is. And if we wanted to, if we were given the width, we could then plug in that value and try to do a little bit more manipulation. We'd still need to define two of the values in order to find the missing one. But what I have circled there in the bottom would be the final representation of this particular answer.